Okay, why don't we get going and folks can join us as we progress, but we only have a half hour. So, hello, everyone. Welcome to Financial Fridays with Sainies and Equitable. Today's topic is your summer planning checklist. Sainies is excited to offer these sessions in cooperation with our corporate partner, Equitable Advisors. Equitable has a longstanding presence in New York, and a large portion of their New York client base is built upon the work they do within the public education system. Through Equitable, Sainies members can receive competitive insurance rates and a full array of retirement services, including a complimentary financial profile for Sainies members, which we urge you to take advantage of. This is a great benefit of membership. So joining us today from Equitable is Emily Fries. And we'll save questions for Emily until the end of the presentation, but feel free to add them as we go. Please use the chat and we'll put the questions there. Now, our Q&A time today is best used for general questions, but know that the Equitable team is available at any time to answer your personal and confidential questions. You'll find contact information for Emily and the other regional Equitable representatives at sainies.org. And now I'll turn it over to Emily.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for coming today. Talking to Sainies members is by far one of the best parts of my job. What we're going to go through today is a summer planning checklist. So the idea here is that you have been working your tails off all year for students, and now there's a little bit more breathing time. So we want to make sure that we get things done for you and your financial household. So today, I'm going to bring you through 6 different steps towards making sure that we are in a good financial spot while we have a little bit of time over the summer. Before we get into the details, I do need to show everyone this disclosure. This is simply saying that we are not offering tax or legal advice today. Any type of decision that you make for your financial well being should be discussed with me or another financial professional in private. Today, we are just offering financial education. And I'm just going to give everyone 30 seconds to read through this. And I do appreciate everyone glancing at this. It is very important to our compliance officer that I give everyone time to read this. Okay, item 1, please take a break. One thing I do notice when we are in the school districts this time of year is the stress level rising. So I'm sure that you all are feeling it to some extent or another. And I want everyone, before you dive too deeply into your financial plan this summer, to take a couple of days to just breathe. I have a very good client that I've had for a long time. She has some changes coming up. I was trying to schedule a meeting with her. She scheduled a meeting on my calendar. When I called her to confirm, she was like, "Yeah, I might have a little bit of trouble connecting because I'll still be in the Bahamas." And I was like, "Nope, we're not having this meeting while you're in the Bahamas. It can wait until you come back. So please take a breather, take a break. Things will go better if you're feeling sharp." After you have taken your break, then we can move on to item 2. And item 2 is that I want everybody this summer to take inventory of all the accounts that you have. A big mistake that I see people make when it comes to financial planning, whether it's planning for retirement, planning for your children's education, or planning to buy property, is that people don't know what types of accounts they have and exactly where they are. And I'd encourage everyone to meet with someone who has experience taking inventory of accounts. So, what you're seeing in front of you is something that I use for all of my clients. It's called an asset map, and it lays out everyone's assets and liabilities. If you look at the left side upper corner of the screen, these are streams of income. So, someone's salary. And then lower on the screen in those red boxes, those are different retirement accounts. Take inventory of your retirement accounts regularly. I know a woman who I have met with for quite a while now, and all of her retirement accounts, or so I thought, were with me, and I managed them. And during a review meeting recently, she said, Emmy, I don't understand this fidelity statement that you keep sending me. And I looked at her asset map and I was like, I don't send you a fidelity statement. I don't have anything about fidelity on your asset map. Can I look at that statement? And after looking at it, we discovered that when she worked for Wegmans when she was 20, she had saved a few $100s into their 401k and she completely forgot about it. And now, just with market increases over the year, her account was worth about $1,200. Now, that's not going to make or break her retirement, but it's still her money. And we wanted to make sure that we had it in her inventory because people do lose track of accounts. Another thing that taking inventory of your accounts can really help with is looking at debt. If you have multiple credit cards, we might want to talk about which one to pay off first and how aggressively to pay it off. If you have other liabilities, we just want to see how those are affecting the money that you're making. It doesn't matter if someone makes $1 billion a year, if they're $1 billion in debt, we need to have plans for that. Another thing that people sometimes don't think to take account of are their life insurance policies. We had a gentleman recently start working with us, and I was making an asset map for him and asked him to send all of his life insurance policies to me. He had an old life insurance policy that he didn't realize was gaining cash value, and cash value is just an investment account that can exist inside a life insurance policy. That's very simply put. And he didn't realize that he had about $15,000 in cash value that he could utilize. It's okay if finance isn't what you do for a living. I would not be a good educator, but have someone take inventory of your accounts so we don't lose track of those little things that you gain over the years. Item 3, basic organization. The first thing I want everyone to do as far as organization goes is a beneficiary audit. And a beneficiary audit simply means that you go in to all of your old accounts and you make sure that if you were to pass away, the money would go to who you want it to go to. Beneficiaries on an account will supersede a will. So even if you have a will in place, that beneficiary is going to get that money even if the will says something different. A story that always stuck with me was before I got into finance, I was a teenager. My dad had a coworker pass away in his early 40s very suddenly in a car accident. And there was a lot of trouble after that gentleman passed away because he had an ex-wife who was the beneficiary on his 401k, which he had been very aggressively saving into and was worth almost $500,000 at that point. Now, he had a new significant other. He wasn't married to her, but they had been together for almost a decade at that point, and they had 2 young children. And he passed away very suddenly. And all of a sudden, this $500,000 that he had been saving up and investing went to the ex wife. Now, the ex wife was actually a very good person. It wasn't a bad breakup. They were just high school sweethearts that should not have gotten married when they were 19. And she didn't she was like, "Oh, I just can just not accept the money," but it doesn't work like that. And it's not easy to simply gift someone you're not married to a large amount of money. So I want everyone to go through and make sure that their beneficiary is the person that they want it to be. I actually did a beneficiary audit on myself earlier this year because I try to practice what I preach. And I had an old IRA that I had forgotten to update to my fiance. It still had my sister's name on it. Not a huge deal, but the reality is, if I was to pass away, my fiance and I have a house together. He needs that money. My sister, as cute as she is, we don't share finances, so she probably shouldn't be the beneficiary in my IRA anymore. Account consolidation. This goes back to what I was talking about taking inventory of everything that you have. If you have too many accounts out there, it can get confusing really quickly, especially when it comes to investment and retirement accounts. You want them all to kind of work together cohesively. And if you have 5 different retirement accounts, that's usually not happening. What I will say about consolidating accounts, so taking all your old accounts and throwing them into one, is I would like you to meet with either myself or another financial professional before deciding to do that. Every once in a while, there might be some kind of surrender on an account where we might want to wait to do that. Or you may have opened an account a really long time ago and it has some kind of special thing in there that you can't get today because it's simply not offered in this financial environment. And we might want to hold on to that account if you have, say, a guaranteed interest rate in a cash account of 4%. I would also like everyone to double check their pension information and make sure that their years of service look correct. What we find sometimes is someone used to be in the locals retirement system and then they became a teacher. Those systems work the same, but they don't talk to each other. So that can skew their years of service. And we need to make sure that we transfer those years of service to the correct pension system. Another thing we will find is someone worked in New York City for a long time and then they went to a school district outside of New York City. Once again, those systems work the same, but they don't talk to each other. So we need to transfer over those years of service. This is also a good time to get logged on to SSA.gov. Even if you're a really long way out from retirement, it's just good to make sure that A, you are the person with the login and no one else has access to your social security information. And B, you just check it once a year, see what the Social Security Administration is actually recording for you. SSA.gov is a very easy to use site. It is sometimes a bit of a beast to get into, so I recommend you get a snack, you make yourself a cup of tea, and you have a date with the Social Security website this summer if you've never been logged into it before. Item 4, review with a professional. And that professional can be me or any other fiduciary that you know and trust. The reality is, we can't all be specialists in everything, and you want to make sure that you're reviewing with a professional when it comes to your financial future. I always tell educators I would make a terrible educator. I just don't have the way of thinking for it. But I know that when I have children someday, there are people who are professionals as educators that will help my kids learn to read and write and do math. So if you are good at that, allow people like me to be good with the finances and reach out and review with people who are specialists in what you need. The first thing to review with a professional is any kind of debt that you're worried about. Debt will start to spiral if we don't take care of it. And it is okay to have debt. Everyone is going to have debt at some point or another. We just want to know what debt should we be actively paying off first, what debt can wait, what debt is concerning, and what debt isn't a big deal. This is also a good time to meet with a lawyer to make sure that your will is up to date. This is especially important if you have children. But in theory, everyone should have some kind of will. You can also start looking at your credit report. You can get your credit report once a year at annualcreditreport.com. And then you can talk with a financial professional about what your credit score means. Having a good credit score will help when you're trying to get things like mortgages or car loans. It's also a good idea to review what is called your asset allocation with a professional. So, if you have a retirement account or any kind of investment account, there are different investments inside of that retirement account. And all those investments together make up what is called your asset allocation. Financial professionals are the people that we talk to about, are my investments good investments? Are they suitable for me and for my long term goals? And you probably want to make sure that you're talking to someone about your asset allocation every 18 months or so, because as the market changes, you want to sharpen the pencil. This is also a good time to talk to professionals about different insurances. There's about a million different options for life, long-term care, and disability insurance out there, and you want someone who really knows what they're talking about in that space. You also want to make sure that all of your liability insurance is up to date. So we don't want to let our car insurance lapse. We want to make sure that our home is covered. And then item 5, summer is a really great time for budget awareness for a few different reasons. And I encourage everyone this summer just to write down every single expense, whether it's a cup of coffee or a new roof, even if it's just on a sheet of paper so that we know how much money we are spending. The first thing we want to track is how much are we spending on one-time home projects? You're not going to be remodeling your bathroom every 5 years. So if there's a big expense, write it down, have an idea of how much you spent on it, but realize that's not going to be part of your regular budget. The next thing I want everyone to really think about is over the summer, what do our monthly expenses look like? And that leads into the cost of summer fun. When someone is earlier on in their career, especially if they have children, the cost of summer fun is something that we want to know because for the next decade or so after someone has a child, they're probably going to ramp up their expenses related to summer fun with that child as they become older. And then where the cost of summer fun becomes very, very important is for people who are knocking on the door of retirement. The reality is, people typically do not spend less money in retirement because it is one long vacation. So, if you have an idea of about how much you spend on summer fun, that really helps us to start creating a plan for how much money are we going to need during retirement, especially during the first 10 years of retirement where people are typically very, very active and spending more money than they were planning on. And then item 6, forecast your plan. And you can forecast your plan for any kind of goal. I'm going to go through a retirement funding goal as an example today, but any financial goal that is important to you can be forecast. So that could be saving for your children for college. That could be buying a new home or a boat or going on your dream vacation. If we plan for it, it makes it much more possible. And it makes it possible for us to do more things while taking on less debt. So, when it comes to funding for a goal, we always want to be 100% funded before we actually leap into that goal. It's not like taking a test where 92% is a good score, because in this example, if someone is 92% funded for retirement, that means that there is an 8% chance that they will fail financially during retirement. And the problem with that is that 8% chance, that bad luck or that issue usually occurs when someone has reached old age and maybe isn't in a position to go back to work or in a position to really be making a lot of financial decisions for themselves. So we want to be 100% funded before we make big financial leaps. So in this scenario, this was actually a plan I forecasted a few months back for a client. This person is currently 92% funded for retirement, and they're about 13 years out from retirement. Right now, they are moderate investors, which means I can assume over the long term they are going to get a 5% expected rate of return on their investments inside their retirement accounts. So if this person keeps doing exactly what they are doing, then 12.9 years from now, they will be 92% funded for retirement. So at that time, they would theoretically need to write $170,995 in a check in order to fund retirement. Now, most people don't have $170,000 just sitting around that they can write the check for and invest in order to retire. So instead, you need to make small changes today so that this issue doesn't come up when you're ready to take the leap. And this client actually had a pretty easy solution. We just increased their aggression in their investments a tiny bit so that we can get an expected net return of 6%. Sometimes for people, it means saving more money. Sometimes it means spending less. Sometimes it means working a little bit longer. But it's all about forecasting now so that we don't have a surprise when we're really ready to retire. I mentioned this before, but I will say it again. Do not feel like you need to go at this alone. There are resources out there for every single person at Saney's. I would love to hear from all of you. Same thing for your employees. If you have someone who is confused about retirement savings, debt, education savings, all those things that fall under the financial umbrella, reach out to a professional. I reach out to an electrician when I have an electrical issue. Reach out to a financial professional when you have financial questions. And because you are all part of Saney's, you all do get complimentary meetings with us as financial professionals, whether it's myself or someone else on my team. Now, I wanted to make sure everyone had my contact information here. That is my office phone number. I'm located in Rochester, New York, but I can help anyone in New York State. You can also shoot me an email, or the QR code below is a direct link to my calendar. You can put time on there, and then I'll simply send you a virtual link if you have questions specific to your situation or want to do any kind of financial planning. But I wanted to make sure that we left a few minutes at the end for questions, and I thank you all for listening to me talk for so long.
Thank you, Emily. Yeah, so at this time, if you have any questions, why don't you go ahead and put those in the chat panel? And we'll give you a few minutes to add those in. And I'll reiterate what Emily said. Feel free to reach out with your personal questions, and you can find more information about Equitable and the contact information at saneys.org. Any questions? Right, Emily, I'm not seeing any specific questions right now, or general questions rather. So we did encourage everyone to send your specific and personal questions directly to your Equitable representative. Reach out to Emily. Thank you for putting that contact information there. And this session will be recorded, so you can go back and reference it. We'll post it at saneys.org under resources, and you'll see Equitable under there, where you'll find a lot of resources and contact information. So with that, I think we will log off, and I hope you all enjoy this beautiful Friday afternoon. And Emily, thank you once again.
Of course, it was lovely talking to all of you today.
All right. Have a great day, everyone. Bye-bye.